All right. Good morning, everybody. Good afternoon. Let's get right into it. We're going to do some coaching. We're going to be talking about a one-base Protoss builds, and we're going to be focusing on the PvZ because that's kind of my expertise, and we're going to use that to kind of brainstorm and gather some ideas for the other matchups that we also kind of want to one-base in. Let me go ahead and call Setan. Yeah, buddy. How are you?
Hello?
Hello?
Yeah, do I call you Tim?
Yeah, you can call me Tim. That's fine.
Alright.
How are you doing?
Good. Just my Protoss and Zerg are in the same range now.
And with Zerg, you play kind of standard, or do you also play more
I
one
have
base focus?
I have tons of builds of Zerg.
Nice. Okay, so I looked at the replays that you sent me and at the
Mm-hmm.
application that you sent in.
Mm-hmm.
So I think what we're gonna do is we're gonna focus on the PvZ replays that you sent. I have some questions, some notes, some things you can improve, etc. And then we'll
Right.
kind of use that uh, like the interleaving mechanic to then look at your other matchups. So then look at what did we learn versus Zerg? Can we use that in the other matchups? Or what kind of ideas work in the other matchups that don't work versus Zerg? Does this sound good
Alright.
for you?
Yeah,
Okay. Are you on the EU server? I think we'll benefit the most just looking at your replays.
I play on NA, but if you can host them on EU, that's fine.
Yeah, let's do it on EU.
Okay.
If you can join the chat channel that's just called RyQuiz, um,
Ah,
you can find me there always.
there you are.
Ah, there you are, there you are. Let me check them out. Oh, okay. Give me 1 second. I need to put them in the correct folder. Right. Let's go back here.
Oh, you're a Zerg main.
Yeah. I main Zerg. I made the wrong
You play
decision
on
a long time ago. No, I really enjoy Zerg, even nowadays.
even late game is just static defense versus static defense.
Yeah, that does tend to happen sometimes. I don't really have an opinion on that. I don't, luckily, don't have to play it that much, so I don't care. Okay, there we go. This should be in here. Maybe I need to restart for that to show up. And then I host them. Sorry for the delay.
That's Are
Okay,
you streaming right now?
yes. I'll be, I'll cut the VOD up, and so you can watch it back if you want. I also have some notes that I can also provide to you.
Alright, thanks.
Mm.
Yeah, okay, you're online now.
Yeah. Let me check the replay. Let me invite you to party. Ah, there we go. Okay, the first replay I looked at was the atmosphere games, so I'll just let's go right into it.
I mean, all the replays are essentially the same thing, the same build.
Yeah. But I thought there were some nice differences that we can talk about.
I did change a bit of the timings now.
Yeah, how come?
Yeah, because I found that they can, because you notice I take my second gas early. Yeah, I've resorted to not doing that now because I found that they can break out if they attack early enough. If you took
You,
the gas early, you
you
won't have
mean
enough.
if you take your second gas?
Yeah, if I take my second gas early.
Ah, okay.
Too early.
Yeah.
Oh no, this is the game where I had a really bad wall.
But it worked out. Like
Yeah.
you have a different game where he actually broke your wall. So, but we'll talk
Yeah,
about that
that was
later.
my first. That's my first time Sim Citying ever.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I've never Sim City been
Yeah.
Zerg main.
Yeah, because I think your early game seems kind of fine. Um,
Yeah, normally what cannon rushers would do is this is the safety pylon. If they see a hatch, they cancel it and then build here. But
right, right.
I
Yeah,
build here regardless.
yeah. So now you go gateway and then cannon, or is it cannon then gateway?
If it's hatch first gateway, no, if it's hatch first cannon gateway, if it's full first gateway cannon, because the lings will break the gateway if you go cannon first and then gateway.
Right. Uh, that's interesting. Because I kind of favor starting the gateway as early as possible because that just speeds everything else up, right?
Yeah,
And you get
that's
an earlier core, and then you can get an earlier robo, and then you can get an
yeah.
earlier immortal, earlier prism, and you tend to win when you have the prism. That's
Yeah,
kind of
I
what
end up
I
getting gate
gathered.
these days because my forge finishers. Well, because since my pylon's really early,
Mm-hmm.
I get the gateway first anyway because the forge isn't ready yet.
Yeah, I think personally that going gateway and then cannon is good, depending on if they scout or not. Like this is perfect, right? Like, he doesn't know anything, so then you can just greed it up and just get the
Yeah,
gateway before the cannon.
yeah, but I remember he pulls here, and oh wait, no, he doesn't pull here.
No, it's different replay,
No,
but
the other.
there is a pull. Yeah,
So the pylons in front, just less service area overall, I guess, if he pulls.
yeah.
But
I think it's
not,
both
yeah,
good for the surface area. And it's also good for leapfrogging forward.
yeah,
So I think this is a good setup. It looks nice. And it's annoying for the Zerg, which is especially important.
yeah.
So he sees it now with the third base drone. You also took his gas. You didn't do this in the other replays. I wonder what is your thought process with stealing his gas?
Oh, okay. Usually I just take this gas so that he can't break out with earlier averages. Just gives me a much easier time to set up because he's gonna get these bottom gases anyway.
Yeah.
So it's just earlier on.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, if he goes Nidus, it's gonna be later because he has to
Yes.
take the bottom gases.
Yeah. So, um, from a Zerg perspective, I feel like this is super annoying taking the gas.
Yeah,
Because I do myself prefer the Ravager defense.
yeah,
Um, and a lair. So taking this gas is super annoying, but you're kind of forcing him into like a rogue style defense. Are you comfortable with that? Is that your plan, or is that just kind of a given to you?
rogue style defense with like spines
It's like
and
heavy Ling Queen and like maybe a spine, but it's we'll see it in the last replay where you get swarmed by a bunch of Lings and the guy just barely doesn't break you because he didn't make any queens and he invested a lot into spines and spines just kind of suck versus immortals.
yeah. Um, I'm fine with that
Yeah.
as long as I'm not going because I've never played against Swarm Host before, and I feel like that's gonna be one of the big troubles.
Right, yeah. I
And
know that
that's what I
some
think
people
I
do a
brought
swarm
up.
host response.
Yeah,
It's kind of iffy, I feel like.
yeah,
Because you need the Ravagers and Queens to stay alive versus people that get the Immortal War Prism out at a decent time. And then it's kind of hard to... Like, you can pick. I favor one basing even versus this, because you're gonna lose the natural eventually. And then you have that ramp and like Immortals just can't get up if you have a couple Queens to zone the Prism.
yeah,
And then you can just make a Nidus or a Spire or first Nidus and then go into Spire or into Swarm Host. Like, it's a lot of tech options, right? And you're kind of forcing him out of that. Like, this guy can't go Lair right now.
yeah.
Like, if I was him, I would be like, okay, fuck it, I'll take my third, um, get Queens, get Lings, and just try to swarm you. with creep.
Yeah. Normally, that isn't effective. I've also adjusted how I scout with cannon rush because people do try to do that. So what I do is stalker, then adept, then use the adept shade to see what he's gonna do. If he's gonna try to
Oh,
break
really?
with lings or banes,
Mm-hmm.
what I do is I delay the second gas even more, and then I spam static defense, and then I get the second gas, and then go into Colossus.
Right.
Yeah,
So
one Robo Colossus. But this used
right.
to be
Okay.
just my main setup. It's still my main setup against Road Gravity. I still go double Robo.
Yeah. So here you get the cybercore, pretty decent time. Like
Yeah.
I think that's a general comment. Like sometimes you kind of idle your probes a bit, and then, for example, the gate finishes, and then you wait 2 seconds, and then the cybercore starts. Like the gate cybercore connection is pretty solid for you. You usually start it right away, but the robo is sometimes a bit late and even idle. And I think I don't quite understand all of the intricacies of the build, so I'm just gonna ask every time, like, shouldn't you be building X right now? And then we can go through your thought process.
Um. So I sent you this replay. This is pretty old. So I
Mm-hmm.
wasn't used to Protoss setup of production.
Mm-hmm.
So I had them all on one control group.
Right.
I'm used to it now though. I get to tab out the
Yeah.
control groups pretty easily
Mm-hmm.
for now. So if there's any delay, it's usually because of that.
Yeah. So
They don't separate.
yeah, let's speed this up a little bit because you kind of just get to do what you want to do. Your robo's a little late, but still okay. Like you had the gas for a little bit. You don't make that adept that you mentioned, but I think that's a good adaptation. I really do think it's a good idea to get that shade in, because then you're less blind. So we'll speed it up until like you're gonna lose these stalkers, I think, which is I think you
Usually I'd
learned.
recall the stock.
Oh, really? You
Yeah,
recall them? Why?
yeah. You after you get two stalkers,
Mm-hmm.
assuming he's not like big busting you or anything, you recall them and then you clear out the overlords here. Clear out the overlords by your main, like
Right.
just in case there's an itis.
Oh, okay. Yeah, on some maps that doesn't work.
'Cause
On
you
this
want
map, for example, you see that he can just stay here, or be here.
I can't see the pings.
Oh, okay. Well, he can be below your main or above your main. Um, there's a lot of dead space, so but I guess the stalkers can defend, and
Yeah,
kill
and
at
they can
Nidus
also
if it
cancel.
comes.
Two
That's
stalkers can
nice, I
cancel.
think. Yeah. Um, you should know by your gas that he doesn't have a lair, so you don't have to. In this game, you wouldn't have to recall, right? So now you have a robo. I think your immortal's a bit late. So, yeah,
I don't think I.
you build it like a battery instead of an immortal right now. That's just kind of
Yeah,
that's a choice, I guess.
that's very odd.
Yeah, now I think you start the first unit at 410, even though the robo started at 310. I don't know how long a robo takes, but a robo takes 46 seconds, so this robo is idle for like 15 seconds.
Yeah,
And you could have built something earlier, but you made a battery. Even though if we look at his units, we can see that he doesn't have a lot, and you did poke with the stalker, so you could have known, but maybe you were just afraid, right? I think it's as
because I
long
ran
as
out
you,
of shield battery juice.
yeah. Oh right, I can see that. Okay, then I think it's a good decision to delay the immortal a little bit if you note that you don't have enough juice. Yeah, that's a thing I missed, I guess. Then no comment there. Because we'll get back to the robo production later. So you now have your setup, I would say. This is kind of your comfort zone, probably. This is like, okay, I'm building immortals. I got my shield batteries. I'm gonna go kill this man, right?
Yeah,
So I'm
my
kind of
second robo's
wondering.
late though.
Yeah, I'm wondering what the plan is now. Um, what are you thinking? Are you thinking about proxy hatches? Are you thinking about expanding yourself at some point? Are you ever going to throw down a Stargate? How are you defending against the Nidus, like I said? Like one of your pylons in the wall could be on the edge of your base, for example. There's a probe on or drone on the map, as you can see on the middle right.
Yeah.
It's never gonna do anything, but this could be a proxy base, right?
Yeah.
Which is not uncommon, especially if the Zerg thinks he's gonna lose the natural. He can just take a proxy base. So what's kind of your plan?
So, if you remember the challenge I was telling you, I'm never gonna expand.
Mm-hmm.
Like never. Even if I'm mining out, I'm gonna long distance mine, or make an Nexus, but I'm never gonna make more probes.
Okay.
This pylon, the reason why it's not in the edge is because this is not walled. Like
Yeah,
that's the annoying.
I
Normally this
understand,
would be
but
normally this would be at the edge.
let's just pretend it's a good wall.
Yeah. So one of the reasons that how do you say it? I cannon rush far
Mm-hmm.
because for people getting hatched first, they're tempted to drone this,
Yeah,
but they're gonna die if they drone it.
yeah,
So even if he takes another expansion and he still keeps droning this, he's gonna die either way. It's just a temptation. The only downside to it is he has more larva to work with if he does decide to go for a big bust.
yeah. He has
Normally
larva
people
and he
would
has
have a
creep.
massive,
Don't underestimate the
yeah,
creep. And he has queen
yeah,
production. I think that's the biggest thing. He
yeah,
gets
queen
queen
production
production.
as well.
Yeah.
Creep won't be that big of an issue because I can make an observer. It's not gonna be that big of a deal.
Well, uh, I want to disagree there because creep is actually a really big player in this scenario. What you'll see here, for example, is that these stalkers, you just kind of lose them. Because microing versus spines without a prism is just kind of, it doesn't do a lot. um, but what happens is that you really rely on getting your war prism out to actually do the micro, right? Your war prism micro is quite clean from what I've seen. So, but the problem is, a prism can't stay alive versus a war prism very well, and you can't have any batteries on creep for obvious reasons. So what happens is that you have this kind of interesting dynamic where maybe you have like 2-3 immortals, which is why I like that you're making prism right now.
Yeah.
And then you have like 1-2 immortals and a prism, and like if he has 4 queens, it's still kind of difficult because he's going to be targeting that prism all day. And that kind of keeps you back. Because if there weren't any queens there, you could just fly into his main, kill him, like go on top of his ramp, kill him there. Like, I think that's the most scary part for the Zerg actually. If they go spines, they're like, okay, at least I know you're gonna hit the spines, right? Like you're gonna attack in my natural. But as soon as the prism is out, it's like, well, now I gotta defend everything. I've got to defend the main. I've got to defend the natural. And that's kind of tough. That's why I personally really prefer one basing versus this stuff, because it makes it easier to defend. I only have to defend one base, and then I can break out later. Because I know the Protoss is also one basing, and you have your Overlord nearest natural, so you know when he's expanding, etc.
Yeah, that's true.
So we'll get back on that with the rogue style defense, because I think there it shows even more, because Lings really strengthen the queens. But I wonder what about the second robo? You make a second robo. Is that necessary? I just wonder why second robo.
Well, because you can sustain it off one base, like constant production of 2 robos.
Yeah.
And I'm only making immortals. He's only making roaches. If he was making like mass speedling, I just go into robo facility and make colossi and immortals. Normally that would be queens.
Right.
Normally at the very.
So what if he has 4 queens and 7 ravagers? What do you do?
You just mass immortals. Eventually,
Mass immortals,
it's just gonna beat it. Like you just get as many, and then you work with the efficiency.
Yeah.
Because if it's against Roach Ravager Queen, you should still always be the one taking the efficient trade.
Yeah.
So
but Zerg doesn't have to be efficient, right? He just has to buy time.
Yeah, he just has to buy time. So I still have to snowball.
Yeah. Okay, I like the second robo for snowballing purposes. You said it was a little late. I agree.
Yeah.
Because if it was a little earlier, you could start like double immortal after this prism, and that would line up really nicely.
Yeah.
This Zerg, however, is kind of doing a messy defense, I would say.
Yeah.
But that's okay. Let's see. So, I note that you kind of neglect to make an observer ever. Why is that? Because you have two
I didn't see
robos.
the need for it if he wasn't dropping tumors.
Right.
But like again, I've adjusted my scouting. So
Yeah. Because in
so
this game,
sometimes
I
it
think
would
it's
make
okay since you had that second gas. So you saw there's no lair, there's no surprise, as it were.
yeah, I see he doesn't have this gas.
Yeah.
So he can't afford both Ravagers and the Nidus
Yeah.
with only these two gases.
Yeah. I feel bad for this Zergy boy. He's making so many spines and it hurts.
You know, he actually has the queens to deflect the prison. He's just not using them. He has
Yeah,
four
yeah.
queens.
He could have like 2 more queens even.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's hard. It's really tough for a Zerg actually, I think. Because Protoss can do so many things. And most Protosses that do this are kind of like, well, not experts, but they do it more often than a Zerg defensive. So that makes it even
Yeah.
spookier. So the Protoss can play a lot of mind games that the Zerg doesn't even understand. He just kind of dies.
I mean, and it's hard for them to scout if I'm going Robo or Stargate.
Yeah, that is
See, this is
definitely
I know,
hard.
this is annoying.
Yeah.
This is annoying. I'm probably clicking 4 and then not having the time to tab into it. I really, yeah. I fixed that now though.
Yeah. So now you see like fairly crisp micro, right? Like you just kill him. Even though you tend to lose all of your gateway units for whichever reason. But
Usually, I just recall them.
okay, that can work. Well, this game is basically over. Let me see if I have any other. Do you have any other things you want to talk about this game? I don't have any other notes on this particular game.
No, I think this is pretty standard on
Yeah.
how most of the games should go.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So the last note that I have is that I think the prism micro is nice, and that you tend to lose your units before you have a prism. So you should
Yeah.
be wary of that. Like you can fix that in 2 ways. You can be more passive, well that's not fun, or you can get your prism earlier. So just be more crisp with your build. And I think
Yeah, with
that's
the roll.
yeah,
That's the better option.
just making sure you hit your timings, and then suddenly you have a prism earlier.
Yeah.
So you just killed this man. This was nice. Let's see, Juggernaut. Okay, this one. There's a barcode. I feel like this guy was kind of hard countering you, but I don't know if that's true. Since you said you would lose.
Oh no, that's yeah. The Zerg said at the start of the game he will lose.
Yeah.
This is really funny. I don't know if I played them before, honestly.
Yeah, it seems like it because he goes pool first, which is just a shit build versus
Yeah,
Protoss.
against Cannon Rush, 12 pool is definitely not ideal. Wow, he did a split. That's the first time I've seen any player at my level do a split. Did a mineral split. I like doing. Wow, Jesus, my pylon's too close again. Good luck and GG.
Yeah, that's a bit
Yeah, I
close,
said
but
good
it's
luck,
fine.
have fun this game. Why is it? Yeah, sometimes the chat doesn't show up, but I always say good luck, have fun first.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, he went gas pool. Yeah, probably played.
Oh,
him
he went
before.
gas pool. Gas pool is a legit build though. Gas pool is kind of okay. I have a
Yeah,
couple gas
pool.
pool builds that are nice. They go for
Gas
early.
pool would be very scary against
Yeah.
for Cannon.
Oh, but he pulls 4 pro drones right away. Did he see this? Let me check. Yeah, he saw your pylon. Okay. Oh, and you lost your probe here. That's kind of a problem. Okay, so now you go gateway.
But I don't have the mineral. Did I cancel this probe? No,
No.
I'm bold.
Oh, you did cancel it. And you have this. You have a gas right now. This is a little awkward.
Cole was very early. He didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
He was like, he's on the probe, and I was like, okay, there. This pylon isn't necessarily in a good place, but it's better than nothing.
Yeah, I think so as well. And he needs, I think, 4 or 5 drones to really kill this pylon. So
Yeah.
it's a nice position. The gateway kind of nicely covers some surface area on the pylon. Oh, it's very slow. So now you're kind of comfortable, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, now it's if did he go Bane? No, he didn't go Banes. That's the weird part. If you're going gas pool, I think Banes is a better option.
Oh, really?
Like for busting earlier. Yeah, that's TLO's response at least.
Ah, I've never actually considered the Banes. Even though they're
Yeah.
good versus buildings. And shield
Yeah,
batteries don't have a
Parting-
lot of HP.
Parting's lost the TLO with a Bane bust.
Nice.
But then again, Parting blindly goes double robo every game. He never goes. He just goes immortals. Whatever. No matter what the response is, he always goes immortals.
Yeah. Okay, so now you have this Ling run by at your natural, which makes stuff a little awkward, right?
Yeah.
I think you even blocked the ramp with the gateway, and then you canceled it and it made a cybercore. I think that was really cute and really good because you didn't know how early the pool was, because he killed your probe. Like all you knew is he doesn't have a natural yet. So I think it was
I saw he has no hack, so
yeah.
gateway is normal, like for early pulls. In case he just sends them across and doesn't try to break this.
Yeah, well, in my experience, if I 12 pull versus this, then the 12 pull lings actually don't really do anything. Because they can wall in the cannon, and then you're just kind of like, oh, well, fuck.
Yeah, if it's a really good cannon rusher, that's never gonna happen.
Yeah, exactly. So sending them across is kind of nice.
Yeah.
So I think in this game it was worth for Zerg for the very reason that you are not starting your robo right now.
Yeah.
Because you're still setting up.
Yeah.
And you now also have to defend this wall, which is really.
I should have had a cannon, but I didn't see the lings come out.
Yeah.
So I didn't think that they were going across. I didn't think he even made lings.
Yeah.
I thought he just went.
Yeah, you didn't see them. So.
Normally, I'd have a cannon here.
Yeah, so I don't know if it's worth making them blindly or just taking the risk. It's.
You only make cannon if it's pull first, or a later cannon if it's hand first.
But you knew it was pull first, right?
Yeah, I knew it was pull first, but
yeah.
I didn't think he had the audacity to go across.
Let me check. Yeah. So the robo feels late, but it's totally justified by the chaos of the game.
Yeah, I'm gonna get Sim City.
Yeah. So from a Zerg perspective, like if these lings just come here and the cannon is about to finish, that feels really bad. Yeah. Then you're like, well, I wasted all of this early larva to walk across the map with units that now do nothing, literally nothing. And they're never gonna do. Yeah, they can walk back, but they don't do anything there either.
Yeah.
So it's just.
I mean, they're gonna die walking back. Look, he's gonna try to get back to the natural. They're just gonna die.
Oh yeah, I would never walk them back into the natural. You just put them like. If I had these Zerglings, I would just put one on your natural, like 2 patrolling around the map for the proxy, and then just have a couple at my third, and just kind of move them in whenever I need a distraction or something. But. Yeah, maybe you can catch like this probe that you have in my third. Maybe you're lucky. That's the only thing. You even saw the links, by the way. You saw it. They passed by your probe on the left. It's in the left speed zone. So, but that's hard to catch.
I was probably selecting the other probe at that time. The other one was coming through. That's why I probably didn't see it.
Yeah. So. This is gonna turn a little ugly, where
he's gonna have made. I don't know. Actually, this cannon saves me, but
it kind of saves you, yeah. But it's an awkward hold. He F2s here. Just look.
Is this a hole? Isn't this a hole?
This is a hole, yes, and he F2s.
Yeah.
I don't know what the hell he's doing, but I think he F2s, and he
would have broken this.
Yeah, he would have owned you, but now the cannon's almost done. And it's a hole, but he doesn't realize it's a hole for sure. And now it kills like what, 2 lings, 3 lings? Yeah, 2 lings and it damages 1. Now your probes can kind of defend. I think you only lose like 3 probes, but yeah.
this is his fault. That's not my fault.
Yeah, so you lost 3 probes, is kind of fine.
My-
And now you have this
my-
gateway that should probably be cancelled, but and now you're
Yeah,
gonna
but I
make
need.
another gateway, I think.
I don't want that to happen again.
Yeah,
And I thought I'm gonna make the gateway anyway since he went pool first. He's not gonna have enough for. He only has to decide units or drones, and he decided units. He's not gonna break this setup with units.
yeah.
So
So
so I think the gateway is like.
yeah,
I
you
mean, it's
could
just a precaution.
you could even not make it,
Yeah,
really.
I can. Yeah, because
If you know
he
there's
can't
no
walk across.
no hatchery out on
Yeah,
the map, you could actually not make it.
yeah,
Because that's one of the questions that I had. You have 3 gateways this game, and you're not gonna use them.
yeah.
You're not gonna get gateway research. So it's just a question. I don't know if it's good, but if you somehow end up in a situation where you already have 3 gateways and a robo started, maybe you should start gateway research and then go like Stalker Prism with like a couple immortals. Or I don't know which
Yeah,
gateway unit is preferred there, but maybe
uh,
that's good, right?
yeah. Of one base, you can afford 3 gate robo,
Yeah.
but I need the second gas,
Mm-hmm.
which I can't get because I lost probes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which okay, so
But he also can't afford anything, so I thought I was fine anyway.
yeah, you're kind of fine. I think we're gonna get at a nice position where I have I think a strategic. I don't know if it's an improvement, but I would make that decision, and I wonder what you think. So I don't play Protoss at all. Maybe I should. Let's see. So yeah,
So
you're not making probes right now, and you still have that gateway that you're not gonna use. So that's a slight, uh,
I'm so
I
proud of
think,
these stalkers.
mistake.
These are
Yeah.
parting stalkers.
These
Being like,
stalkers are going ham. So now you have 1 gateway making stalkers here. You're gonna queue a second stalker here, and your robo's doing
that's
nothing.
that's a mistake. Yeah,
Yeah.
because I click 4. I didn't put the robo
Right.
on the control group, so I just assumed that the robo was already making something.
Right.
Yeah,
Because I think ideally you would not make the stalker right now, and you would start a
yeah.
prism.
If
Because
I could cancel both of these, I could actually make the immortal
yeah, but
instead of the prism. It's 100 gas, and
yeah.
these 2 stalkers are 50.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think either is fine, an immortal or prism. I kind of assumed that you wanted the stalker, so then if you make this 3rd stalker and you start a prism and then make a 4th stalker, you have like a really nice stalker prism hit squad. Because 4
Yeah,
stalkers fit in a prism, and then you buy yourself time to make the immortals and make more probes. And you can
he
go
also
into
doesn't
the
have enough
main, because I think 3 stalkers or 4 stalkers one-shot
for
drones.
drones.
So you just fly into the main. Or, yeah, I mean, if you knew he didn't have any queens, you would just fly on his face right now. Because he can't do anything. He doesn't have queens, funnily enough.
Yeah,
But I know that seems a little scary with only 2 batteries and 2 cannons here. But you can fly back, worst case. I think in this particular situation, getting the prism super early would be so strong.
yeah,
So
that is true.
since you probably make the immortal first blindly, I think it's a nice consideration. If you have a bunch more gateway units and even gateways than you expected, then maybe prism first can be cool. So yeah, this robo ends up being idle for a full minute.
Yeah, that's kind of sad. I
Yeah.
think I only worked with it when I got the second gas. I
Mhm.
just keep making stalkers.
Yeah, exactly. So
Second best choice, and since he went full first, it's not going to. It doesn't hurt me. If he went hatch first, this would really hurt me, though. But if he
yeah,
went hatch first, he'd never get those links here.
yeah. Like I understand that you need to sacrifice something of your build to regain those probes, right? So oh, these stalkers going ham, dude. So these stalkers have way better micro than we saw last game, right? Like
Yeah.
they're actually getting kills, they're not dying. Last game you had 2 spines that just kind of owned the stalkers, like 2 spines and a ravager that just kind of owned both of your stalkers. Was there just an error, or do you have some difficulty with spines? What do you?
I know. I was testing if a stalker, if stalkers could fight spines on their batteries, but apparently they just drained the battery too fast.
Yeah, I wanted to say like unless you have like a nice amount of stalkers, it's kind of a waste.
Yeah.
Even though I understand that you want to micro them because stalkers are very fun to micro. If there's like 2 spines already done before
Yeah.
you have 2 stalkers, then this Zerg is like he shot himself in the foot already by making those spines.
Yeah.
So yeah, you should kind of accept that. Okay, I'm not gonna micro as much, and if he comes forward, you can still put this stalkers like in front of your cannons and batteries, so that they hit the Ravagers before the Ravager can shoot a bile at the structure. So you can still kind of use them, and then you can kind of get an extra shot on the Ravagers by stutter stepping. But yeah,
Yeah.
not as much micro potential if your opponent just made spines. Same with cannons, right? Like if there's cannons, I'm also like, oh, okay, there's no micro here. The cannon's just gonna shoot. Let's see. Yeah, so I really want to hit home that the Prism would have been a cool addition because also you are a little bit gas starved, right? Because you didn't
Yeah.
even start your second gas yet and you pulled out of gas. I don't know if it was intentional or not. On minerals to recover your probe count. So then
Yeah.
it makes even more sense to me to make that Prism because Prism is only minerals.
Yeah.
And then suddenly you have these 4 stalkers with a Prism and they're buying you so much time to make the probes
Yeah.
and to make the immortals and even more structures.
Could definitely do that.
Yeah, so let's see. So
The
yeah,
moment the Immortal comes out, though, the stalkers, I usually treat the stalkers as forfeit, as like shields to the
yeah,
Immortal.
yeah, I understand. But they're still really annoying, right? They can hit.
They're way faster than
Yeah,
Roach
they're
Ravager.
faster and they can hit overlords, which
Yeah.
is I think actually a big deal.
It's not obvious, but they also deal damage to armored,
Yeah.
even though even though it doesn't seem like. Okay. Okay.
So
Now the game's over. The
you have an
Immortals here.
immortal. Yeah, this Zerg just doesn't have the drones. He just doesn't have the drones. I feel like, and
Yeah.
he just doesn't
The
have a
same way
clear
right now as
plan.
me, and I lost a lot of my probes already, and I still have the same probe count as him.
Yeah, exactly. But it's hard. I think most Zergs just need to realize they need more queens. Because queens just
Yeah.
are the Zerg battery, and then you can kind of trade efficiently.
Yeah. That's true.
Yeah. So you're making the second robo right now. I think you're gonna have a look like you're missing a few probes. Like there's one probe missing on gas, and there's one missing on the minerals. But I mean,
Mm,
it's a chaotic game, so it's not weird. But you should
actually,
probably check.
on Cannon Rush, usually it's just 2-2 on gas.
Really?
The only reason I have one more probe here on
Mm-hmm.
the guys is because all my gases are kind of late.
Right.
But
Okay.
usually it's 2-2 on gas, and then 16 on minerals.
Mm.
That I didn't wrap up to.
And that affords you double robo production still.
Yeah,
Oh.
it
Wow.
still gives me double.
Okay. Although I didn't know that, then that's good to know. That's really interesting because it makes the build even more sharp.
Yeah,
Like you don't have to make 2 of those probes. That's like 100 minerals that can be
it's going to
invested
this.
in other things earlier. Like that's
Yeah,
just insane. That's really cool.
oops.
So yeah, I wrote down that because you don't have a prism right now, you're gonna lose like a couple more stalkers, which is just a shame. Um, and your win condition in my eyes is obviously when you get a prism and an immortal
Yeah,
at any counter units underneath your prism basically. And right now I look at your robo, it has chrono, you basically have money for a prism if
yeah, I
you
don't have it. It's
but you don't
250.
have it, right? Like it's just a shame that like if you really want to get the most out of your micro, you kind of have to do the small macro things as well. You have to micro your robo, is what I would say.
Yeah,
Because those are the small things. If you get them right, like this push is so sharp and so strong, because you just hit early, and then suddenly the games feel easier because you're literally just cheating. You have stuff earlier than normal. So yeah, my last note was about the gateway research, but that's more of a strategy thing. And now, as you said, the game is kind of over. You
yeah,
even pulled drones, like It's really funny, like, most Zergs kind of panic in this situation. I don't know if I'm just sadistic, but I like seeing players panic. Just like seeing what they do, you know, like under pressure, then you really see which player has like good fundamentals and which players are just kind of build order spammers.
Yeah.
And I mean, both
Oh, and he
styles are
got
fine,
speed too.
right?
Okay,
But
he's definitely dead.
what?
He's definitely dead. He got speed too. He's definitely
Oh,
dead.
he's got Jesus Christ. He didn't even decide what he wanted to do. He has one queen, no
Why is my
like bunch
probe?
of energy. Like yeah,
Why is my probe in the control room?
your probe is there to do the sprays.
Yeah, I've never sprayed. I should definitely do that.
Spraying is definitely an important part of your build order. I always spray next to my hatchery when I proxy hatch, because I have the spray with the eyes that look to the left. Do you know that emoticon?
I haven't seen it yet. Actually.
Well, there's a spray that just has like two curious eyes, like looking to the side, like what is going on here. And I just always spray it next to the hatchery, so the eyes look at the hatchery. And then I make the hatchery, obviously.
Yeah. See, I don't even pick up the stalkers anymore.
Yeah.
Usually, I just treat them as forfeit at this point.
Uh,
I should still try to.
you
take them,
you
but
can make them into glorified cannons if you really don't want to micro them. Just put them like
hold position somewhere. Or...
yeah, just put them somewhere in hold position, like to the left here, next to this battery and probe. You can put them there and be like, yep. Now you're like a semi-wall, so links can't get out here. You can even, I guess, drop them in the main or something. If you have a second prism, that's really fancy. Even though in this game that doesn't make any sense because your win condition is obviously more immortals is more winning because this guy doesn't have anything to deal with immortals. But yeah, I think I understand why you think they're forfeit, but they can do so much if he kind of tries a bust. Yeah, it's just 4 stalkers, right? 4 stalkers pretty good. They're just not as good as immortals.
Yeah, there's actually a cool micro trick I should be doing. I'm not paying attention to. So wherever the prism's facing, if you drop them, that's where the immortal will also face.
Oh,
So
really? Wow.
Yeah,
that's
if I
cool.
keep dropping, look. If you check it out.
So if the
like they have to.
Oh yeah, I see it.
Yes,
Wow.
turn.
So if you face towards the army and then you drop, then you shoot faster.
It's just gonna instantly shoot.
Whoa, that's cool. That's really cool.
Yeah, I've seen the trick work once. Like this is a really cool trick. So immortals when they shoot each other, of course they'll kill each other at the same time. So there was like one shot left, and I saw Printf pick it up with the prism, and then go to the other side of the immortal, face it on the immortal, and then drop it. So the other immortal had to turn.
Yeah. That's cool. Damn. That is sick. I didn't know that. That's really cool micro. StarCraft is cool, man. What the fuck? Okay, well, you owned this guy. I don't have any comments on this game further. Do you have any thoughts that we didn't discuss yet?
It's mostly about the wall.
Yeah.
I could. Yeah, I just needed the cannon there for pool first. I need to build that blindly if it's pool first.
Yeah. And again, if you want to transition here or plan for a transition, you can like make a second base somewhere. You didn't really scout for proxy hatch, but looking at his setup, I wouldn't expect one if I were you.
Yeah.
But yeah, sometimes those small things, just you need to be mindful of them.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you didn't get a observer in this game either, which didn't really come into play. But you have 2 robos, so I feel like you should maybe make one, but I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
He has no queen. He's not dropping tumors either. It's just the lack of queens that really makes me not want to build one. And again, I use the adept shade these days just to scout for their tech. So unless they're dropping tumors, I'm not sure.
Yeah, I like the adept shade. If you have that one, then I fully understand that you're not making an observer. That's totally fine. But like I'm watching your vision right now, and you didn't really see a lot in the main, right? So it's kind of like maybe.
It's cool. Well, yeah. Back then,
Yeah.
I didn't really care because everyone
Mhm.
just went Ravagers, and this guy went
Yeah.
pool first. He doesn't really have a choice.
Yeah.
Even if he denied us, well,
Hmm.
normally I'd recall, but he sent us links and whatever. Also, my Nexus has a lot of energy. I could be using that for chronoing these Immortals.
Yeah, definitely. But those, like these immortals aren't gonna lose or win you the game. It's like the first two immortals in the first prism. Having those on time is the most important, I
Yeah.
think, because then you can also you have the tools to micro around,
Yeah.
and then getting all the stuff afterward is kind of nice. Okay, we have one more, also in Juggernautha. This
Yeah.
seemed to go the worst, but
Yeah, this is the worst. Yeah, because I assumed he wasn't gonna pull drones because it was so late.
yeah,
That's why I just put the cannon forward. Normally, I put it behind the gateway. That's why you see there's a little pocket there when I put my gateway.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
but I didn't think he was gonna pull. So I didn't think it was gonna work.
Yeah, 'cause I was a little confused watching this because you went cannon before gate and then you cancelled and then like it was really weird, and disjointed.
Yeah. Yeah,
Because
because I
this
just
guy,
thought
I think he had a decent response up until a point. Like he scouted
up
pretty
until a
early,
point where he was just so tilted and he just kept making lings.
yeah, but the links weren't even a
He
problem. I
forgot
feel
his
like.
gas.
Yeah.
He forgot his gas though. See here,
I don't know
he
if
just
it's
ignored.
forgetting or that he chooses not to get it. That's I wonder because if he doesn't get it, he just has more minerals, right? I feel like he
Yeah.
chose to not get it, which
Wait,
is
why
why
did I cancel this cannon?
I don't know.
Oh yeah, because I assumed there's just the one drone.
You're right. And now you take his one gas,
What?
but he doesn't
Yeah, I take
care.
his. I should have taken the other one. But he didn't do anything with it anyway. So my
Yeah,
probe control. Oh yeah, I also didn't think he was gonna kill the pylon. He was gonna be able to.
yeah. No, he has 5 drones, so then he's kind of capable of doing it.
Oh, this was really sad.
Yeah. You had the money to make more buildings as well. That's kind
Okay,
of
this
iffy.
never happens anymore.
Yeah. And now you
After
have a
this,
gateway.
I get the cyber though.
Yeah.
Oh,
You
it's
don't
so
get it
good.
right away, because
Yeah,
I guess
because
you're focusing here, which is fine, but you have the minerals. So a slightly more clean execution would be to get a cyber core right away. Oh, but you want to get the probe out. And now he has a bunch of links. I think not getting a zealot here was good because of that. Are you gonna cancel that? Nope. So
this was so sad.
yeah, when I watched this, I was like, well, you're dead, lol.
You're dead. Yeah, but most people don't position their overlords like that well. Especially against Protoss, they usually just put it on the mat and then send it across. So I just
Yeah.
went for the search. I thought he pulled a decent amount of drones. I mean, his drone count is lower than mine, so I didn't think he was gonna be able to
Yeah.
get the third. So I just put it here.
Yeah.
The
Now you get some sneaky ass shit off, which is disgusting and
supplied
amazing. Yeah, he's
and he
supply line.
somehow supplied that.
Ay. That's sad. He
28 is a bitch.
This guy started off pretty well. Oh, is this
now he gets
extractor trick? Hell yeah.
Oh, wow. And then he doesn't bring the drones back.
And he doesn't make an overlord. No, Steve, no, you're doing so well. I feel so bad for the Zerg. He's
And
doing
his drones
well. Ay. Yeah, they're just chilling.
that
Look at these drones. They're gonna be here. Oh, in the middle of the map, underneath the speed zone. There's two drones just chilling. They're gonna be here for the rest of the game. They do have a kill though. They probably followed a probe around, and now we forgot about them. Yeah, they would be really helpful mining right now. I'm not gonna lie. This guy is doing good shit, even though he doesn't know it. He's just making drones. He should get a gas by now, but okay. Like a gas or a third or both. And now he sees it probably, and he's like, "Oh no." So you go blind double robo? Is it just
to my roamers, man? Nice. Well, my minerals. Well, yeah, I don't have the money for it. Because
Yeah.
I spent on this just in case he sees it and tries to break.
Yeah, and now you start an immortal, and then you start a prism. And that's
This
really
guy just
nice.
hates gas.
You go immortal prism, and that just makes me happy. That just it saves you
And
this
now
game as well.
he has a kind of a sad tumor.
Yeah, that was a panic tumor. He didn't know what to do. He just threw it down. This is sad.
Oh my god.
Pull your other queen! No!
The queen can actually fight the immortal. He just doesn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, queens are sick. And now he goes
Not
for
armor.
it, which I think is an okay response if you bring both of the queens, especially before you have a prism. Because then this immortal just dies. But that's a tough decision as a Zerg. So I actually don't mind this from the Zerg. Like, getting rid of the cannons is nice. And now, yeah, not great. Like, these spines is fine. Like, I like a backbone of spines. 1 or 2 spines is fine. But it's gonna be... Like, this is more of a roguey response in my eyes, right? Like, he's gonna get speed eventually, but he should be making more queens. Like, if he had 3 queens here, it would be pretty solid. 3 queens, bunch of links, you have 2 immortals and a prism, and like a battery that doesn't have any juice. Like,
Yeah,
he would be
it will be
fine.
at the very least very taxing for me to deal
Yeah,
with it.
I think he would.
If not game winning, it's like very taxing at the very least.
Yeah, I think he
Yeah,
would kill like all the pylons and building batteries right here, and just like he can stand on the edge of his creep with queens, and your prism can't get close. So he can just target down all your structures here. Like maybe the building battery on the right he can't kill, but definitely the pylon and the photon cannon and the probe as well. You can just kill them with all his links. Like if he was a little bit cleaner, he would have speed like halfway done right now, and like 2 more queens in the front, and that would be really spooky. So I personally don't play the rogue like response as much, but I see why he does because it feels really Zergy and pretty strong. And also the Protoss has
It's
to
also,
know how to react, right? What's up?
it's also how do you say it? Uh, Especially if it's just immortals, lings will trade better. It'll
Mhm.
drain the battery faster too since they get full surface area.
Yeah, yeah. Links are really funny versus
Yeah.
immortals. Let's see.
But again,
Let's
I
see.
usually go Robobay now if I see links, but I didn't get any scouting here,
Yeah.
and I
Okay.
just assumed he was a draw.
I think the stupid thing here. Oh, here you do have 3, 3, and full. You have full saturation on your base. I think that's nice. Because if you're on one base, you might as well get the most out of your one base, right? Just having a little
Well,
extra gas is fine.
the only reason I made more probes is because my setup is super late, so
Yeah.
I had nothing else to do,
Mm-hmm.
and I could afford it.
Let's see, let's see.
Since my gateway is down too, so I wasn't making anything.
Right, yeah, you killed that. Yeah, that makes sense. I think what you see here is why spines suck and why queens are awesome. Because you can just target down the spines here, because the queens are not there to shoot the war prism. Like,
They're also not there to transfuse this man.
yeah, they're not doing anything, but like if these queens were just in front of the spines, he could actually root the spines. And then he would have a nice foothold closer to you, which I think is good. I don't know if that's actually good, but you could at least defend his spines. Wherever he wants to gain space, he can, because queens in front of it would just be monsters. And now you see the prism. Like, I'm so glad you made this prism early, because if you, for example, made a second immortal instead of a prism, you would have probably lost your first 2 immortals, and then just the game kind of ends. So it's very nice that you also sent this replay, because it gives a nice full picture. And now you see, like, he can just kill this pylon, he can probably kill that battery, because lings are just kind of funny like that. And it's hard to micro against them, I imagine. Now this guy should target a bit better.
Until you get a big amount.
Yeah. Because then they
I
start
could make
like
Immortal too.
one-shotting them, right? I don't know how many you
Yeah.
need. 20?
Um.
No, you need
Well, it's
2.
not really that. It's also that they have a hard time building surface area if they're all clumped together. Plus
Ah,
the prism,
right. Oh, that's smart.
they get
Yeah.
even less damage.
Yeah, you're totally right.
It's kind of the logic with Marines too.
Yeah. So your SimCity didn't really change versus this style and versus the Ravagers. Um,
Yeah.
when looking back at it, would you do it differently now, or do you think your building placement is good? Because you just saw like he moved with the links, and you just lost a pylon and a cannon and stuff, and they were all kind of spaced out. Do you do that on purpose so you can fit the immortals in between, or is it just habit and maybe you can make an improvement there?
The
What
one
do you think?
usually I space them out so that bios don't get them, so
Mm-hmm.
all at the same time. But he was making links here,
Yeah.
so clumping them up definitely would have been better.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
This game focus on the immortals though.
yeah, definitely. Like you're not gonna lose a game because of how your buildings are positioned, but you can definitely gain a little bit of more efficiency um, if you do. So it's just a small thing that you could work on um, when the rest of the game goes well, right?
That's actually what I do against Bane Bust. Like,
Mm-hmm.
usually, um, some buildings would be clumped up, but some of them would also be spread out. Usually, the front is
Mm-hmm.
a little more clumped out, and the rest they're spaced out because
Yeah,
if they bust, they're only gonna get the front layer, and then the rest are just too
yeah.
spread out. They're not gonna get good surface area on it, etc.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
makes sense. Do you also
it's
drop
mostly
the
for
immortals in front of the Banes, or is that not in time? Do you not have immortal prism?
usually for a Bane bust,
Mm-hmm.
I'll only have an immortal and maybe a prism at best because
Mm-hmm.
I'll be delaying the second gas and
Right,
I'll be spamming static defense. Because
right.
if they lose the bust, they lose the game either
Mm-hmm.
way. So I don't need the immortals until then.
Do you make a sentry or never?
No, no, no.
Yeah.
I don't see the need. I don't see the need for it
Mm-hmm.
at the very least.
Yeah, no, I just wonder because on some games you might have too much gas, and since you're spending a lot on structures, you might have like the money to make a sentry. But I don't know what
Yeah,
like one's force field on some maps it can be nice, but on some maps it's also just a waste of money. So
yeah.
I just wondered.
Sentries are also pretty expensive for gas.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. So if you don't have the surplus, I wouldn't ever make them. But it was
Yeah,
just I'm just interested to know how it
yeah.
works. So like now we're just gonna see that spines suck, and he kind of ran out of steam. Like he has
Yeah,
one last flood of lings. Um,
yeah, but it's too late. There's too many
yeah,
immortals already.
again there's no queens again.
I could be spamming batteries right now though.
Yeah, definitely.
Because I have so much money.
Yeah, you have a lot of
Like
money,
in this
but
immortals won't do anything.
but
Yeah, I'm
I
just too
think your
focused.
priority is fine. I didn't look at your APM, but I don't know if you consider yourself high or low or just average. But your
Uh,
priorities were good, right? Like just the decisions you did make were good. Like you focused on your immortals, and if those are alive, then you win the game. If you were making
yeah,
batteries and not microing your immortals, you would probably lose the game.
yeah, because I only had one basically dead battery.
Yeah, exactly. So even though yes, it could be better with just play faster, be like Rainer or something, but I think you made the good decision there. So that should not be overlooked. Oh, it's kind of funny to see all these red immortals because of the lings.
Yeah.
And now he's out of steam, right? Like he's kind of like, I
Yeah,
really wish I had 5
there's not
queens right
enough
now.
larva. There's
Yeah,
also, and he's also basically never injected his main.
yeah,
It's not like he doesn't have the money for it though.
yeah. I mean, like that's gonna happen on both sides, especially in these kinds of tense games. You're just gonna force mistakes. Just like you force mistakes on his side, like he's making spines, that's a mistake, but also just missing injects and stuff. And he also forced mistakes on your side where he killed your gateway and then he pressured you and then some of your stuff was late, especially in the game before this, where suddenly he was at your wall and you didn't know what to do. Like, and then your robo was idle for like a minute, right? Like, that's just kind of StarCraft. Sometimes you force mistakes. So now you play it out really well because you know you've seen so many links. You kind of know that he can't have a lair.
Yeah. And he doesn't have speed, so
Yeah, I would be surprised though, to not see so many queens. That would be my only thing as the Protoss right now. We'd be like, I see a fuck ton of links, but no speed, but
no
also no
gas.
queens. Like, what is this guy doing? Like, where is the gas? Does he just not have gas? But if he doesn't have gas, he should have like a million queens. So what is he doing? I would really be like, is there a proxy hatch, or does he have like 3 gas and is he going into Muta or something? Like something stupid.
Yeah.
I would be kind of wondering about that. Because that's also the only way you can still lose this game, right? And that's kind of the mode you're in right now. You're like, okay, I'm definitely winning. I've just killed like the last hurrah Ling flood. But if this guy wasn't as bad, he might have something behind this.
Yeah.
It's not likely, but it's basically the end of the game where you still have to kind of win the game. So you have to ask yourself, like, what can I lose to? And I think if he flooded like 6 Muta right now, because he just invested all of his gas into Muta, and suddenly he has 6 Muta,
Yeah.
that would definitely be a problem. And that's
I
not.
remember losing in a video. This makes me really sad.
Yeah. It definitely happens. Like I play the. Let me just shortly say what I do. I go one base versus this, so I just kind of sack the natural as soon as you try to kill it. And then I make like continuous queens and ravagers up to like 6 to 7 ravagers, and then I just make queens. And then I make like 1 spore, 2 spine maybe. I prefer to get an overseer, but sometimes people make an observer really early, so then I get a spore. And then I just use the queens to keep you out of my base. So you can't get in with a prism, you can't get in with an observer. And if you try to walk up the ramp, I just throw a bile. And then another one, and then another one. And then I just pull back, I have tons of transfuse, so I can't really die, ever. And then I go lair, and then I get a Nidus, or I get a Spire. And then sometimes I do proxy hatch on the map if I have a drone. But the strongest thing is just it's super fast Nidus, I feel like. Because then you just Nidus the main, like underneath your Cybercore right now. And then if you walk up to my main, I just go back into the Nidus and I'm back in my main again.
Yeah.
So you kind of reverse the situation where you are now sieging me, but if I get a Nidus up, I'm sieging you. And even worse, if you recall, then I just go back, and then suddenly like you have like a robo and like 2 cannons and like a bunch of batteries, but no units. So it makes it really difficult for the Protoss. And then you can even throw down a Nidus in the middle of the map to expand, and you can throw down a spine. Or a spire, I mean. And then you have a spire, and you just keep making queens, and then suddenly you pop like 6 Muta, and then like the game gets super weird from there. Because a lot of people... I'm sorry, I'm almost finished. A lot of people go robo facility, and they go disco balls. They go, how do you call it? Disruptors?
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah, they go disruptor versus like the turtle one base. But you can just kind of the spine zone those out, and then you just kind of split, and you need 2 balls to kill queens, so that's really hard. So if one disco ball hits my queens, I just transfuse 3 of them, and then I'm fine again. And you're just buying time, just buying infinite time for the Nidus to spawn, for the Spire, and even Infestation Pit like Swarm Host. Yeah, we didn't see that response here, but I don't know if you've played against it.
Not against Swarm Host, but for people who are like one basing, like then they build a macro hatch or something. Normally, Disruptor and then Colossi would beat that out.
Yeah, Colossus are
but
really
again,
good.
It's whoever snowballs.
I've never actually tried to macro hatch on one base. I might try that. Get you more queens, huh?
It's a Ukos response. He
Right.
does it against Grimmy. Grimmy's one of the best cannon rushers, especially MMR wise. What he's always above 6K in most of his
Mm-hmm.
accounts. And when he plays against Uko with the macro hatch and the Ravager Queen bust,
Mm-hmm.
he's always having trouble. He's always
Yeah.
winning by like 1 or 2 immortals, like with the Prism micro.
Yeah. Oh,
But
that's cool.
in
Yeah,
half the time he still loses too.
that is cool.
And, and that's one of the best cannon rushers already, and one of the best
Yeah.
at immortal micro.
Yeah. I really wonder what you do with the locust. Like, where do you? What do you do? Do you like?
You just destroy the main base.
Ah,
I assume at least, because like
well, that's so
wasting.
weird because you can use any type of unit for that. Swarmers kind of
Well,
feel bad for that actually, but
okay, so let's say, well, they're at least efficient in
mm-hmm.
comparison.
Yeah,
So
definitely. The
let's say
longer the game goes.
there's this setup.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, there's this setup. He can't walk up if let's say you have all the queens and the spines up here by the ramp,
Yeah.
and then you Nidus by the main base. Don't keep overlords like too close to the main because yeah, again, a lot of the good cannon rushers will recall and then the stalkers will just clear them out.
Yeah.
So you get the worm here.
Uh-huh.
Um, like like I ask cannon rushers what they do against that, and
Cool.
they just tell me to mass expand out of it.
Yeah.
Like I expand somewhere else until you can get Colossus, and then Swarm Host will become
Mm-hmm.
useless.
Yeah, yeah, that's definitely a very strong response. Like versus one basers,
Swarm,
getting
yeah,
a quick nexus that just puts such a timer on them, and you just become so rich that it's really
yeah,
difficult. So on some maps, like Blackburn, for example, where there's gold bases, you should definitely beware of them nidusing the gold base and then just expanding there.
yeah. I hate Blackburn. Like even as Zerg, I hate Blackburn.
Really, I love it.
Blackburn. I
Except for
hate Black.
versus Terran, like when they doom drop me
Yeah,
every fucking time. And I'm like, I know he's gonna do it, and it still works, and I'm like, fuck.
the
Uh,
slow choke is also really annoying.
which one?
The slow choke in the middle of
Oh yeah, right. Yeah, it's really annoying. Yeah, I can't really hate on Blackburn right now because I played a ZVZ last week and I beat a 6K Zerg on Blackburn in Muta versus Muta. I was like, oh my god, because it felt easy. Like I just beat him straight up, and I was like he was 6K. I was like, wow, like that feels good. Like because I'm usually not 6K, right? Like I can beat 6K players in tournament because I prepare really well for tournament.
Yeah.
But like on ladder, I usually just get fucking slapped. Let's see.
Speaking of Zerg, there is a build I want to show you. Let me go back to NA and get a replay.
Uh, let's just try and finish our
Focus on
session,
Protoss.
okay? Because otherwise
Right,
we're gonna go over time a lot. Like we can do a
right,
different session at some other time if you want to talk about your Zerg.
right, no worries.
Because I have 2 more points or 3 more, like the future. So what can you do to improve your repertoire from my perspective?
All right.
I think one, you could try different follow-ups. So you always go to Robo.
Yeah.
I don't know if going Stargate and Void Race is now a thing, but maybe it's good.
Harding does that
Yeah,
sometimes,
maybe
like very rarely.
yeah, earlier Robo facility could be fun. I don't know if it's good.
Mhm.
But we've already kind of talked about it.
Yeah.
Expanding at some point, yeah, you've also covered that. So you don't like to expand, which I think is justified, unless they also go one base Zerg, because then they're
Yeah.
not as vulnerable, and then you take a Nexus, which I think is really cool. That really expanded my view of the matchup as well. So thank you for that, because I always had a lot of trouble with Protoss doing this shit, and then they're just like, oh, I'm expanding. I'm like, what? No, you're a one-base cheeser. Stop expanding.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest thing you can do to kind of if you really want to differentiate this build, you can try putting your forge on the low ground on maps with a small choke, kind of like Deathera. That's where
Oh,
you
yeah. That's definitely you can do that.
Yeah, because there it's harder for the Zerg to know what you're doing. Because this setup, like with Forge on the high ground, I know you're one basing, right? And if you're not one
Yeah.
basing, you're expanding at some random spot on the map that I can Nidus very easily. But
Yeah.
if you have it, I don't know if this is a good map for it. I don't think so. But like maps like Deathera, not Romanticide, definitely not Romanticide. Maps with a small choke, you can try putting it on the low ground and then forging on the low ground and then getting a wall on the low ground.
Yeah, and
Um,
then they're just happy
and
gas.
then they don't know if you have a natural, especially if you recall those stalkers. You can kind of
Yeah.
patrol them in the
Clear out the
natural.
overlord.
Yeah, clear out the overlord, and he just doesn't know if you're expanding. That is really scary as a Zerg, and you can expand or not expand. Like you have options, you have more space, and the Zerg has more question marks. So I think that's the biggest thing for, because you ask like how can I differentiate. Um, I think that's a step you could try and take on some maps.
All right.
So that's kind of the PVC that we focused on. We actually talked for a full hour about it, which is nice.
Yeah.
So let's shortly dive into your PvT and PvP. Let's just talk about it, and then we're gonna end the session for today.
All right.
So we've got a clear view on your PVC. You like going into double robo, and you can rush not on the hatchery, but kind of like the entrance of the Zerg natural
Yeah.
is what you can rush. You control that space, which I think is even scarier than just getting counter rushed.
Yeah.
And now you mentioned PVT. You do the teabag build. I think you do the disruptor build. Is that correct?
No, no,
No.
actually do proxy Stargate. I actually wanted to learn that build.
Oh, really? Okay. Maybe I read it incorrectly, or but uh, in your submission in the Google Docs, I think you said that you did proxy Robos versus Terran, but so you do proxy Stargate is what you said, right?
Proxy Stargate, yeah.
And then it's
So
Void Race or it's Tempest or.
I actually do that reactively. I don't get
Mhm.
Wargate. Well, okay, so there's three types for proxy Stargate that I know of at the very least.
Mhm.
It's proxy void into Robo. This one's not seen a lot.
Mhm.
Proxy void into Robo because you can afford Stargate and Robo production at the same time.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's usually for Cyclones. Like Void
Right.
Ray Immortal would normally beat Cyclones until they get Magfield. And then there's Proxy Void into Forge Cannon Tempest,
Mhm.
which a lot of people go for.
Yeah, that sounds
And
fun.
the final one is Kata Starcraft's version, where
Mhm.
you get Warpgate. It's his version, I think, would be technically the best version for
Mhm.
killing, like immediately.
Yeah.
Because Proxy Stargate, the other two versions would die out eventually if they have Magfield and Vikings. Like you'll run out of steam, which is the ironic part, because the Terran units will just one shot you. But with
Right.
Kata's version, it doesn't give them enough room to do that. You get Void and three gates,
Mhm. You
and
just
then
kill them.
Stalkers beat on the
Right.
turrets. But
Oh,
then that becomes a micro battle because
yeah.
you have to deal with the Cyclone and your Voids
Mhm.
are getting zoned out by turrets, and your Stalkers uh, are getting zoned out by the Cyclone. So
So which one do you lean towards right now? Which one do you play? Which one?
I play reactively actually, but
Okay.
for, sometimes I just do Kata's version.
Mhm.
Like lately, I've been doing the Robo one
Right.
because there's a Prism and an Immortal.
Mhm. And so,
Yeah.
looking at the improvements we've tried to make to your PVZ, do you have any things that you think you can take away from your PVZ to your Terran versus Terran builds?
For
Like,
versus
are
Terran.
you clean in your build orders in that matchup, uh, or is it kind of the same where you could make it a bit more crisp? Um, do
Yeah, that's
you how do
actually
you
the
handle your
problem.
gateway
I don't
units in
have.
that matchup?
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of the problem. I actually don't have enough one base builds for
Hmm.
the other two matchups.
Right.
Because in PvZ, the cannon rush into robo thing, I can do a lot of things reactively.
Hmm.
Like whatever option they have, I can counter it regardless.
Yeah.
Um, but for PvT and PvP, uh, let's say I do cannon rush for PvT and PvP. Cannon rushing far in PvP is not gonna do anything. It's not ideal. It's not gonna
Hmm.
help you.
Yeah.
Because you can't get the two gateways, and I don't really wanna do the hardcore cannon rush in the main base because I think it's boring.
Yeah.
You're just gonna win with the cannons. In PvT, same thing, but you always go into Stargates. That's your only option. You can't go into Robo. You can't go into anything else,
Hmm.
which kind of sucks.
Yeah, because
So
Vikings just kind of own war prisms.
yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm kind of lacking builds for both those matchups. So I'm
Hmm.
thinking whether I should continue doing my one base challenge or just like go into two base stuff.
Hmm. I think it's always going to help you to experiment a bit with the two base stuff because then you know what's strong about it and what is strong about your one base build. It just gives you a new perspective, which is really cool.
Yeah,
For PvT, yeah, maybe you can expand on, like, I think you call it the Caddis version. Um, like the teabag build, for example, you can kind of go into Robo with a couple stalkers, and then you have like Stalker Disruptor, which is kind of an old composition now. But maybe it throws off the Terran completely, especially in the best
yeah,
of series. Then maybe first game you just give him the Stargates, and then second game suddenly you only have one Void Ray, and then suddenly it's Disruptors. I don't know.
yeah,
So you can kind of play around with that. I think PvT there's a lot of still possibilities, but it's a bit more sensitive because Terran has like a hard shutdown on your units, like you mentioned. Like they can start one-shotting your shit, and that's
yeah,
very different from versus Zerg. So yeah, you have to kind of deal with that in its own way, which can be an interesting challenge in itself, right?
yeah,
And then yeah, maybe you eventually conclude, well, I can still do the damage here, here, and here, and I can make this very scary. But I also kind of have to prepare for a two base follow up because there's no winning
yeah,
here. If he makes X amount of Vikings, then I shouldn't ever a move into him because I just lose always. Um,
yeah.
and then PvP, I know
Okay,
the
I only
least
have one
about
build for
that.
PvP.
Yeah, so because if you really just
It's a
want to
really
cheese
stupid
him, you
build, but
can
I
go
want.
like Forge Gate and then just try and kill him that way. But getting a similar setup to the CVP build or PvZ build is hard in PvP, right?
Yeah,
Because
yeah.
I think you
I have
can
a
look
really dumb build that works.
at classic proxy robos that used to be really strong until they
Yeah,
implemented the shield battery, and now it's still kind of strong.
yeah.
Um,
3 gate robo that will
yeah,
be.
yeah, exactly. I think you should probably lean towards those builds a bit more.
Yeah.
I've seen I think a highlight video lately where somebody built a bunch of shield batteries in someone else's face with a
Mhm.
similar build, but I don't remember. So you can probably find some inspiration from people playing PvP in that
Yeah,
fashion. I think yeah, you should just kind of challenge yourself in that sense.
yeah,
Um, yeah, I just don't know enough about PvP, but I know the meta right now is to try and expand as soon as possible. So you're kind of in luck, right? You can actually be
yeah.
really aggressive and probably get some good wins.
So, so for PvP, the build I
Hmm.
use, it's a really stupid build, but okay. So,
I
you know,
like
two
stupid
gate forge,
builds.
right? The parting build,
No,
like
I
two
don't.
gate forge. Okay, so what parting's build does? He sends a probe out immediately at the start.
Hmm.
At 15 supply, he builds a proxy pylon,
Hmm.
and then he builds two gates and a forge,
Hmm.
and then he blocks the the hole in the double gateway.
Yeah.
He puts a pylon there, and then he puts cannons, and then he just spams zealots
Hmm. Okay. Yeah.
and wins. But what I do, so I sort of make it look like that. What I do is, in, in, I still send the probe out at the start of the game, but I make a 14 pylon in my base, but I put it really far so that
Hmm.
the scouting probe can't see it.
Right. Yes, in a corner of
Because
your base.
Parting's build doesn't have a pylon in his
Hmm.
base. So he's automatically gonna assume it's that build.
Yeah,
When I
that's cool.
proxy, I'm gonna do 2-gate cyber.
Mm-hmm.
So it's gonna be zealots and then stalkers with batteries.
Ah.
Usually the response to the parting build, usually it's a reactive forge, which just doesn't work versus
Mm-hmm.
2-gate cyber. And if they do 1-gate expand, it's gonna be even harder to hold it.
Yeah.
Because I spam zealots until the cyber, and then stalkers and the batteries are already there.
Yeah. So this is more of a gotcha cheese in
Yeah,
with which is kind of different from your PVZ, where yes, it's a cheese kind of, but not really. You're just kind of doing something. You're bringing the game to a different state, and then you're kind of, well, not macroing, but you're still playing straight up from there.
yeah,
Both. It's not like, oh, I saw it and now I defend it. It's just a different type of game,
yeah,
which I think is cool. I
yeah.
like
That's
to
why I
do
enjoy
that
PvP.
myself versus Protoss as well. Just try to change the game state to to a state where it's different but not like completely cheese.
Yeah,
Like six pull back in the day, right? That's just a cheese. If you see it, you scout it, you just win. But
yeah.
with the faraway cannon rush, it's not a cheese. It's like just a very aggressive opener, which I
Actually, I only
think is
started
cool.
2 seasons ago. I never made it to the wall time where it was
Hmm.
6-4.
Sorry, what?
I actually just started 2 seasons ago. I didn't make it to the time in wall
All
in
right.
Wings of Liberty where it was like 6-4 and stuff.
Oh, really? So you haven't been playing
Yeah,
for that long yet? Is that
yeah,
what
I
you're
haven't
saying?
been playing that long.
Oh, wow, cool. I hope you're enjoying your time with the game.
Yeah,
Of
enjoying it, and then that's when they abandon us and stop making patch notes.
Yeah, I wouldn't worry too much about that. The game is in a really cool state. And if you look at other games that don't get big patches anymore, the meta still keeps shifting. Like if you look at Brood War, or you look at Melee, or you look at other
Yeah,
games that are a bit older, like the meta will still shift because there's like really stylistic players that will show us the way. Um,
yeah.
and you can have different philosophies like Dota, where they constantly patch shit, which is also cool, but
Oh
it just
God, yeah,
promotes different gameplay and different skills.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
and if there's big bugs or whatever, they're still gonna get fixed. So, and in the end, we don't have control over this, so there's we just shouldn't worry about it. The game is in my opinion, a really cool playable state, even though Void Racer is shit. But
yeah.
that's because I'm
The
Zerg,
the
right?
only thing, yeah, the only thing I'm dissatisfied with is how the late game looks like
Uh,
for especially in PvZ.
mhm.
In TVZ it's fine, but like in
Yeah.
PvZ, it's just them recalling their sky toss
Hmm.
and then recalling them to the other side, and then it's static versus static, and you're never gonna
Yeah.
trade efficiently no matter what you tell me. You're not gonna trade efficiently unless he attacks into you, which he's never gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I think, but that's a StarCraft problem.
yeah,
That's not a matchup problem. I think. Basically, StarCraft has made the decision to make air units that are stronger than ground units, which makes it
yeah,
really easy to centralize a lot of power into one spot, which
yeah,
means you can never fight that one spot.
yeah,
So that immediately um, kind of throws away the whole kind of balancing mechanic from unit sizes. Like Ultralisks are really strong, but because they're so fat, you can actually kind of have SimCity run away. Like you can kind of do stuff against that. But a carrier
yeah,
is just a big chunky boy. But it doesn't. The carrier can literally be as big as a Nexus, but it doesn't matter because
yeah,
flying units can be stacked on top of each other. And
yeah,
that's just a
and
StarCraft problem. That's never gonna go away. Like air death balls are always gonna be there because air units
yeah,
are too good, especially carrier, battle cruiser, and I guess kind of brood lord as well. Like they're just too good. Like especially the
yeah.
all-purpose air units that just have a ton of
I'll get
HP.
the rice ready.
It's just
Wait, give
stupid.
me a second.
What?
All right, give
Yeah,
me one
sure.
second.
Yeah, sure.
Uh, Wait, actually, I think we'll have to conclude here. I'm
Yeah.
gonna have to eat dinner. All
Yo,
right.
that's fine. We went a little over time, but I think we had a really nice talk. Um, Yeah, I'll make sure to cut up the VOD and you can watch it back. Do you want the notes? I can send them to you if you want.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, I'll just
And this one.
I'll save them and I'll send them to you on Discord. Yeah, thank you very much for your time. I hope you learned something or that you're gonna continue having fun with StarCraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if you want to do a talk in the future, then
All right.
I'm totally open to
Definitely.
doing that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks again.
Yo, have a nice dinner, have a nice day, and I hope to see you in the future, man.
See you.
You,
Thank
bye
you.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Okay, that concludes our coaching session for today. If you yourself would like to do a coaching session with me, be sure to sign up. I do one free session each week because I think it's fun. I like talking about StarCraft and I like helping people have fun with StarCraft. So yeah.